Hello and welcome to another LEGO Train MOC Showcase video. This is my third ever Great Western locomotive and my next Thomas character. It's Oliver. So yeah, really, this is my third ever Great Western build. It's a bit weird to think about. The Hogwarts Express and the City of Truro are my only other two Great Western models, and it was a bit surprising. This is genuinely a model I've thought about building for maybe 2 years. I definitely remember thinking about making this before I started making 7Y tender engines. And now that I have this, I'm glad I did this in the form of a Thomas character. There's going to be a lot more Thomas characters coming in the future, and given the locomotives that they are based on, it's going to be like killing two birds with one stone. I've made this character as well as make this type of locomotive. The overall shape to Oliver is captured very nicely, but there is one thing I'm not too keen on. It's how tall the model is. It's a bit too difficult to kind of determine that just by looking at the model on its own. But compared to other models I've put this next to, it's actually quite tall, which is a bit of a shame because this isn't supposed to be. It's more so because of the wheels that I'm using. These are standard large drive wheels, but the proportion of the wheels compared to the training wheels under the cab, it's so much better that way. As for details when it comes to lining and stickers, all I have is Great Western Railway and number 11 on the side. There's no lining. This, I say that. There is supposed to be a logo here instead of GWR, but I printed out a few different versions of the logo, and for some reason it just looked too blurry. I wasn't satisfied, so I resorted to my letter and number sheet and just went with this. Speaking of build preference, this is something that I was not too miffed about doing because I knew, well, you know, nobody really is against this, but there is always someone in the back of the head who's like, why would you do this? So yeah, this is something that I'm starting to do a bit more. I have spray painted some wheels in a more appropriate color. So instead of having to fork out money to buy some more wheels from Big Ben Bricks, I have a load of drive wheels just sat aside that are never going to be used for anything else. So I'm better off spray painting some wheels for current projects than having to fork out more money and wait another 2 weeks just for them to arrive. I did the same thing with the training wheels. Those are standard train wheels, just again spray painted in green. Annoyingly, it's not the same shade, but this is the closest shade of green that I can get. And there are some people who have pointed this out. I think this was pointed out with the Henry video. It might have been more of an in-person thing. But either way, I know some people aren't too pleased with it, but again, build preferences, and given my experience, you know, this is something that I, for one, am perfectly okay with doing. So I am recording and uploading the video for Oliver and Duck on the same day. And I'm going to be mentioning this in the Duck video, but it's worth mentioning here as well, just so it's all known, and this is a question that I am still being asked. Having answered this a few times in the past, it is starting to get a bit annoying, so I'll answer it one more time, and then that's it. In the future, if somebody asks me about this, I will just refer them to this video. I believe it was also mentioned in the James and Percy videos, but there was a lot more comments responses. So the toy that I'm using for the face of these models is a Golden Bear push-along toy. These should be easy to get a hold of, and these are fairly cheap. The first ones I got to make the original 5 were definitely cheap, about, I don't know, £3-4 each, which isn't too bad. I bought Duck, Oliver, and Douglas at the same time. I was able to get Douglas his face at long last. But these got quite expensive. They were like £7-8 each, which is a bit ridiculous, it's got to be honest. And but ultimately, when you look at the size of the face and the overall comparison, it's just so perfect. I mean, it is the perfect size. There is nothing else that I could think of, no other toys, no other brands of kind of Thomas toys where you could steal the face from and it would look so perfect. There is another thing I want to quickly address. Again, this will be mentioned in the Duck video. I was asked by a few individuals about doing a tutorial on how to remove the face pieces themselves. Now, again, with the first 5, they were all done in the same way. So I thought to myself, yeah, you just repeat the process, get it recorded, and that's a little extra something I could put on YouTube. Turns out, it is very different with the 3 toys that I bought recently. It's not something that is just clipped onto the front. It's a much more difficult procedure to remove the kind of front section. Having to use my Dremel to really dig into the toy, it was so frustrating. I thought, why isn't this so simple like it has been for every other bloody toy? Oh well, I mean, I can't really show off the process because it was an absolute nightmare. I'm having to use tools and a bit of a finicky and somewhat dangerous process to remove the face in the first place. I'm not comfortable with showing that off as part of a tutorial video because I don't want people replicating it, getting themselves injured, and then yelling at me in the comment section, I did this and I hurt myself. So yeah. It's a shame, but I will be making more Thomas characters in the future. If it is an easy enough process, I will record how to remove the face because, again, it's something that I've been asked, and I, for one, am interested in doing that video, but only if it is an easy enough process for many people to replicate. But Oliver turned out really well. I was able to get this done in a few hours, which is quite surprising, but at the same time, it's something that I am somewhat familiar with. I am able to look at the picture of the character, replicate the shape very easily, and it kind of reminds me back to the day I made Gordon, where I was able to smash that together in 6 hours. This was about the same time, but even then, it's just still amazing to me that I can achieve that. It's like, I could build it that quickly. Really? Haha, that's really cool. I don't really build anything else, so all my focus and attention going into this and the actual dedication to make the details correct, I suppose that all kind of makes sense in its own way. But yeah, that's just really cool. I've got another Thomas character on my railway. Excellent stuff. So damn cool. Right, there we go. That is the next Thomas character made. Thank you all ever so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye-bye.